Hey, my friends, good to have you with us today on our journey through the Bible. It's Tim, your good friend and Bible teacher and former chaplain. Our reading for today was in Psalm 1 to Psalm 9, and I'll share a few thoughts with you about Psalm 3. I had a friend of mine who was a chaplain and deployed in Iraq when we were involved in war there. He told me a story once about a convoy that he was in going through a village of Iraq when all of a sudden someone was shooting at their convoy. And of course, you know what to do in a case like that. We practiced it until it's just automatic. You stop the convoy, go into what's called a herringbone pattern. Everybody out of the vehicles with your weapons up. You let people know we shoot back. Unless, of course, you're the chaplain, one person in the convoy who's unarmed, and all he could do was jump out of the Humvee and crouch down by the back wheel for protection. But just as he did that, there was another um, soldier in his unit that stepped in front of him. He was a black man. He was one of those soldiers. He was so big that M16 looked like a little toy in his hands. But they stepped in front of him and said, "Don't worry, Chaplain, I got you covered." Boy, isn't it great to have someone like that in your unit? God could be like that for you. That's what David discovered. Have you ever found yourself at a point in your life where maybe you're discouraged and you feel like good news and encouragement are just nowhere to be found? If that describes your life now or at any time, um, you're in luck because I want you to know that God will be your shield. You see, David, as he wrote this psalm, describes some of the problem people that were in his life, and there were many over the years. But we read in the first two verses a psalm of David when he fled from Absalom, his son. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which save my soul. There is no help for him in God. Selah. The story of Absalom is a sad part of David's life. You'll find it in 2 Samuel chapter 13 to 18. He was David's son who planned a rebellion against him. And it took him years to do this, plotting and planning and telling lies about King David and how he didn't really care that much about the people. And the Bible says he stole the hearts of Israel. And then he proclaimed himself as the king. And there were people behind him saying, "Hey, long live King Absalom." Which of course meant that David was not going to live very long because he was sitting on the throne. We need to eliminate him first before Absalom can be the king. What could be more sad and more difficult than that story that he was describing here? Both family and friends had turned against him, and now they're the enemies, and they surround him. Well, David's enemies were saying that even God had given up on him. God's not going to deliver you, David. That's what they were saying. Well, friends, problem people are everywhere. Maybe you haven't a few in your life. It's even worse when you're related to them because you can't always get away. It's amazing, isn't it? The devil knows where they are and how to bring them into your life and get under your skin. Well, the danger is, though, that we might just camp out in these two verses, surrounded by problem people. Um, but you don't have to be, my friend. The choice is yours. That's why we have verses 3 and 4, where David also describes God's help. He says in verse 3, "But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of my head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill." Selah. Many have said to David, "There's no help for God and for you and God." But when have they ever been right? Okay, there are many against him, but God will be his shield. And that means it doesn't matter how many are coming at you. With God as your shield, he's all you need. David said, "God is the lifter of my head." God put him on the throne in the first place. He wasn't seeking that position. And David knew he'd be there as long as God wanted it that way. David was saying he didn't even have to remove the trouble. He'd just be a shield to deflect any attacks that are coming his way. It's kind of like what the New Testament describes in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 16, where it says, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Yeah, the enemy has some arrows headed in your direction, but stay behind the shield of faith. That's my question for you today. Is that where you are? Are you behind God's shield? That shield will quench every fiery dart, but you need to get behind it. I don't know why you'd want to live anywhere else. When the devil is trying to get a clean shot at you, stay behind that shield. You won't get there by accident. On those days when you find yourself under attack, maybe by problem people or the trials and struggles of your life, just remember you have help in God. He'll be the shield that you need, just like he was for David. Well, give that some thought today, my friends. Meditate on it and stay in the Word. Tomorrow, our reading is in Psalm 10 to Psalm 17. And so dig into those Psalms, and I'll be glad to be back with you again real soon. Have a great day, folks.